engagement a user could have was with this specific service. Today, that's not the case. So, taking the engagement before and just putting on, and I'm going to jump relatively fast on this, but because we're not going to step into each and every business model, but what we can see is what we're trying to show is how new business models, new opportunities, new ways of monetization are connected to the steps you take as a telco and operator in engaging better with your subscriber. Okay? So there's again a direct connection between successful engagement and generating revenue. Whether if in the past, more traditionally, we used to be only subscription and to some extent transactional, and if it was transactional, it's a subscriber-only transaction, right? There was no EST. Today you see there's almost hundreds of millions of dollars in 2010 already on electronic sales through from operators, from people providing content. If you go up the chain to engaging the content with meta content, or next generation metadata, you are stepping into the ability now to do targeted advertisement or branding. Okay, and I will show you some examples. Again, I'm not going to go into each and every business model, of course, but you can see more or less, and there are probably some that I'm missing as well. And now, a few steps into the numbers, and I'm going to run, I assume a lot of you know this, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I'm stepping now into a bit the TV and OTT world, and how does that affect the business model? Who are these TV users, and why should I invest so much money to engage with them? Because what I said until now is very nice, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of effort, it's mindset, and why am I going to do this? So first of all, some numbers, and again, you can see there's a difference between Europe and the US here in terms of the way money is spent versus advertisement and SVOD. It's just a fact, and I find it interesting, and I'm wondering how the future looks like in terms of, it would be interesting to see in the next few years if this trend continues, or does one market align to the other. We can also see the availability. This is not users using the system today, of course. This is the availability. This is me being able to have TVE. So the availability of TVE to subscribers is a service. And we hear today already, and we will hear today, tomorrow, more and more operators already saying how this is live. We can see now how this is changing and how it's waking up and how it's growing. There's an interesting point about awareness. The awareness of TV services is growing dramatically, and you can see in the beginning, in the first 2 years, it was really not that growing. And one of the reasons we see for it could be, it's initial deployments, it's testing, there's still problems in the area. There's also the operators were not pushing this. Okay, they were fearsome of this. And also the subscribers themselves did not know what they were going into. But we can see how it grows dramatically already from 2011 to 2012. Another point is you can see how, and it was said before, so no point in staying on this, but you can see how the huge difference in OTT services between the US and the rest of the world, specifically Europe. So after these numbers, I'm looking specifically in the TV users, who they are and what they are. And again, these slides will be available for you for download, I assume, and you guys can. So I'm not going to go and elaborate every point in point. I'm going to just make the points of the headline. But in general, first of all, the difference between TVE users and the average user in video spending. These guys obviously like to watch content, okay? It goes to all aspects, from DVR to OTT subscriptions, to renting videos, to even DVDs and buying videos. These guys are different, they're much more active, and their numbers are much bigger in terms of, and these are TV users. So the guys who are subscribing to TV are the guys who are also consuming video a lot in other aspects of the services. Another difference, and this is not a major one, is in demographics. Bottom line is the users that are part of the TV are usually slightly younger, and they have more, and they have kids. I don't know what that means, but that's the statistic, and that's a fact. It's interesting to see that these TV users are also the ones that are engaging mostly with the premium services of the operators. Okay, So in other words, these TV users are the mega buyers of the operator. They're the best subscribers of the operator. They are the, I don't know, I don't think it's the early adopters. They are the mega users of this, of pay TV and content in general. They're the same type of users. And it's true for all premium services. Viewing quantity, again, it's how much it's spread between the services. You can see, of course, the TV users are the ones that are less, well, not less, but they're less focused on broadcast TV, and they consume content from many other services as well, of course. An interesting point, I think, is the fact that OTT is only second to broadcast TV. And the interesting point for me is that DVR is afterwards, because DVR, for sure, is a service that for years now operators understand is a must-have, right? But if TVE, you know, if OTT is just second to actually broadcast TV, that should be even more important. Obviously, it contains DVR as well. The CE environment, again, it continues with all aspects. These guys usually have much more devices. We have a deployment just announced in Orange, Spain, a few months ago. It's a full OTT native service that Orange Spain is doing, so an operator going full OTT. And the subscribers that are linking to this service, are the numbers we are getting, these are guys that have around in average, 5 devices, connected devices in each household. Monetization. I'm short in time, so I'm not going to go into all of this, but how does this trend, how is monetization being impacted by this? And how do we do something about it? So first of all, monetization opportunities, and I urge you, because we don't have the time, to come down to our booth and see the immersion part of this engagement model. But we're talking about the ability of branding, the ability of delivering, and this is an example of a next generation metadata. It's not watching the video itself, it's providing full content, metadata content, next generation content around the movies, around the actors, around the directors, and by that, allowing for branding and sponsorship. So if you're a Toyota and someone goes into a specific Fast and the Furious, then suddenly within the magazine of Fast and the Furious, there will be an insert like in a regular magazine of Toyota. And if you click it, you're going to go to a magazine of Toyota. And now you have a few, if it's Red Bull, then maybe an extreme sport movie or whatever. If it's Coca-Cola, it could be musical. Another point, I just talked about the service which was launched. Interesting, in Spain, they're offering this full TV service for 10 euros a month. They're seeing a lot of adoption, not just by existing customers, but actually new customers. So they're gaining now new customers through this new service, which is a full TV service, which is also interesting, because it's a move by a telco to decide to go OTT, and so far, so good. So for conclusion, it's a new landscape, it's a new world, it's threats, but it's also opportunities, and I guess we're going to discuss it a bit in the panel. You have to understand that the users we are talking about are the mega users. So the question we have to ask ourselves, if we don't engage better with the users, it means we lose, as operators, we lose the high-end customers, we lose the lucrative guys. Does that mean, and in our opinion, yes, that means that the rest will follow? We think so, yes, in a few years. So these are the test case. If you don't hold on to these customers, eventually your service will be non-existent. Spill over into pay TV, I think it was said a lot. Shift to more personal experience, I've mentioned that as well. Tight link between personalization offering and increased revenues, I think that's obvious. I mean, if you go to the web, it's been for years. Amazon leading the personalization in commerce. 30% of their revenues in the past, I don't know what it is today, was generated from those simple recommendations. 30% of their revenues. Okay, there's a tight link between, besides churn, tight link between the ability to personalize and the ability to upsell. Be prepared for some trial and error. I mean, this is a new world. If you're going to wait for everything to be ready and stable, you're going to be late. Okay? Start, move, go into it, and be ready for trial and error. And this is the new world. This is where the telco needs to adapt. It's not just a simple sentence. The whole idea of trial and error is relatively scary for operators. They don't like the fact of trial and error. Okay, I know this as being part of the Orange group. We know this. I mean, they have to adapt. They have to be more, you know, okay, you made a mistake, know how to fix it, and fast. Step up and start experimenting. I think I've mentioned it together with the point before, and that's it. Was I late?